So I want to do this video for those of you that are feeling a little bit lonely, particularly coming up towards Christmas, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, etc. And this feeling that we might have because it's coming up to this period, which is essentially a time of year that the common narrative is that we should be spending that with friends and loved ones, etc. It can make us feel extra lonely at Christmas time. But why I want to point this out to you is because sometimes I believe that the understanding of something or why something's happening is the real way of offering true relief to that thing. I could quite easily sit here and give you 5 or 10 good reasons of 10 good things of what you should do or what you could do in order to make yourself feel better. But I always kind of like to go things from a different angle and try and maybe point out, if you can understand, like I say, why something is happening to you, why you're feeling that, then it might, it might go some way to offering you some relief for the Christmas period or any period when you're feeling lonely. You have to remember that dark night of the soul is the separation of the ego mind from your true essence. Your true essence is the self that was crushed when you was a kid, and everything that has gone on top of you since you've been born is all part of the conditioning and the matrix life, if you like, all the egoic beliefs, traditional beliefs, Christmas, with generational beliefs, what you should do at Christmas. All of these kind of things have gone into how we are, and suddenly now we're going through this separation period of identifying our new selves and releasing our old selves. So at the moment, we are already feeling lonely. We're already feeling isolated and cocooned and feeling a bit abstracted from the world itself in general. Now it's coming up to this big occasion in life, which is the Christmas time. And our normal egoic mind of how that would have approached something is now completely different. Perhaps, maybe not for all, but perhaps for lots of us, it's now completely different from how we once would have viewed Christmas and what we should be doing at Christmas. And that can make us feel even lonelier, because now we're standing there in this isolation anyway, and now we're feeling even more isolated because perhaps we don't want to go out with friends, perhaps we don't want to go out with families and celebrate Christmas with them. But perhaps maybe when we was in the matrix mind as well, we never actually wanted to do that in the first place. And the real you is now appearing, and the real you doesn't want to do that. So guess what? The real you doesn't do that. Because when you come into that authentic self, it's very hard to not be authentic and be true to yourself and show yourself self-love. It really becomes difficult to do that. The trouble is, with some of you, you're going to be in the thick of that separation of the two, your consciousness, your egoic mind and your consciousness, if you like. You're going to be in that phase. So coming up towards Christmas time is going to feel particularly hard. And one of the things that might feel particularly hard is this feeling that you might have of you don't want to go around your family's house, maybe. You don't want to go and spend time with people that you would normally spend it with, and this makes you feel like there's something wrong with you, like you're flawed or you're becoming miserable, and this dark night of the soul is going to turn you into someone who's just lonely and never does anything with anyone and sits all by themselves. And that's not true, guys. It will only, once you you're being cocooned in the dark night of the soul, because you're needed. In order for you to become your true self, you first have to identify all the old self and let that go. And that's what I try and do, is offer my experience of how I learned my mind, and then I try and give my experience of how I learned my mind over to you guys, hoping that that kind of guides you in a way that you can then learn your mind, so you can feel certain things as they're coming up. But with that whole Christmas period, you're now establishing who you are, so your beliefs surrounding Christmas in general might be changing. You might now want to actually spend Christmas alone, and that's okay if you want to do that. You might be feeling down or like you're having fear of missing out, FOMO, because you're not doing the normal things. But whatever it is you're doing right here, right now, at this moment, if you're in that dark night of the soul, you're doing what you're doing now because that's what you're meant to be doing. It's okay if you don't want to go and see family. It's okay if you just want to sit in on your own. Now, I'm not trying to sound like a Scrooge here or anything like that when I say it's okay to sit in on your own. That doesn't mean I'm saying that all people that go and see their families or go out with friends and do it that way are wrong or silly or whatever. No, that's wonderful. It's wonderful if you want to do that. But it's also okay to not do that. Becoming your more conscious selves lets you see things in a more clearer way as to how you like to see them. Personally, I'm here on my own Christmas Eve, and I like that. It's nice and quiet, it's nice and peaceful. I'm a very peaceful person, so I kind of like that. I've been invited out places and that, which is lovely. I'm aware some of you may not have even had invites, which might also be upsetting you. But that's okay, because you have you. You are learning you. You are meeting you. You are learning to realise that not having friends around you who ultimately you wouldn't want around you is okay. And when you start coming into that new, fuller self, if you like, that more conscious self, your people will start to appear. They will start to appear because you will start frequenting different places. You will start being different and talking to different people. You naturally become this person that has like a more natural guarded defence against toxicity. I'm just going to try my glasses. Oh no, we've got plenty of time there. You might have, you will have and develop more natural defences against toxicity. And maybe the reason why you, I mean, this isn't going to apply to everyone, guys. It's a very general thing. But maybe the reason why you haven't felt like you've been invited to places this year is because the type of people that you've been associated with, work colleagues, or even friends and family that you thought were close, now you're kind of coming into your consciousness. You're seeing things differently. You're seeing it for what it is, and maybe you're starting to realise that those people that were around you might have been lovely people, but ultimately were not your people, were not the type of people you want to be with. I have loads of friends like that I've lost. I say lost, I've just moved away from them because they no longer serve me in the way that I feel like I want to be served. And that's not an entitlement, that's just a, no, we don't allow toxicity into our lives. And by not allowing toxicity into our lives means we become more true to ourselves. We can't, it's the same notion as when when I try and say to us that we are nature. If we understand we are nature, we are less likely to do bad things to ourselves. You know, we don't feed our dogs with bacon sandwiches and sausages all day long because we know that's not good for them. But we also know that that dog is nature. You know, we look at it more like it's an animal, a wild animal, and we fail to look at ourselves like we are just wild animals that have tamed ourselves through this egoic mind that's come with all these beliefs and stuff. In other words, guys, all I'm trying to say in this video, there's no blueprint to how Christmas should be. There's no blueprint to how we should be as humans. And therefore, if we can take the one and put it with the other one, whatever you're doing this Christmas, if you're sitting alone and you're not wanting to be with your family, it might not feel nice, but it's okay. It doesn't mean you're a flawed human being. The only reason you might think you're a flawed human being off the back of it is because of all the beliefs telling us of how we should be at Christmas. Or any time, really. I'm just using Christmas because it's Christmas. I know there's a few guys sitting, well, I know there's probably a lot of guys sitting there who are feeling lonely because they're not comfortable sitting in on their own maybe, or they feel like they should be doing something. There's an awful feeling that, I can remember that, when that feeling of, oh, I should be down the road with my mates. All of my friends have gone to Norfolk. They're staying in a hotel thing and having a party all through the night. I don't want to come. And that might worry some of you. You might think, Tobes, why would you stay in on your own when all your friends have gone and done that? This is what I'm saying about the beauty of spirituality. I don't want to do that. I've discovered the real me is a me who's very quiet and likes being, I'm very introverted, whereas I've lived my whole life very extroverted. And it's probably partly living, there's good things to come out of this matrix, I guess. Part of living my life extroverted has meant that I'm kind of comfortable doing stuff like this now. Because ultimately I know that the people watching this as well, it's just the beauty of the essence, this consciousness is so wonderful. You get to realise that anyone still here at this point in this video is also a person that's waking up or has woken up or is becoming very spiritually aware. And therefore, you're not judging me as heavily as maybe you once would have if you were watching through your egoic mind. But saying that, if you had your egoic mind, you wouldn't be this far into this video. It's wonderful. Guys, we are in a wonderful connection together. All of us as human beings are, but those of us that are losing that egoic mind and finding our true selves, it's fucking wonderful. Because we all think along the same lines. It's nice to be sat here as a YouTuber who has a thick child complexity. I do that because my thick child always coming in from the background. But as a YouTuber who has a thick child complexity, whatever the word is, again, I don't care about how I sound all the time because I know you guys just tolerate it. And you enjoy the message that you always seem to see the message that I'm trying to say. And that's beautiful. And that's why you guys send me a lot of emails. And just on that note, guys, I am trying to get back to your emails, I promise you. I get so many of them now, and I do like to give you proper answers. So keep the emails coming in, but bear with me, guys. It's only me doing all this stuff on my own. And so it takes me a while to get round to replying at times. But I promise you, I read every single one of them, and I will get back to you on that. And I kind of lost what I was saying, but I think I've covered what I needed to cover. Let me give you this little analogy because it might make you understand a bit more. If you haven't, I'm sure you have, but you might enjoy my analogies because they are often daft, but they kind of make sense as well. I just want to really make sure I've got it clear that what's a normal human feeling, how the mind can come in and sit on top of that and tell us that that normal, natural human feeling is one that is not valid, and we shouldn't be feeling that. Like if we're feeling a bit depressed, oh, that's so bad. We shouldn't feel depressed at all, ever. In order for us to kind of feel down about being depressed, we have to first think there's something wrong with being depressed. That makes sense? In order for us to first feel that there's something, that in order for us to first feel depressed, we have to first believe there's something wrong with being depressed. There's nothing wrong with being depressed. It just might not feel nice. And if we go so deep, those of you that are so deep in that and you're really struggling with that, seek help. Talk to someone. Don't let the word seek help frighten you either. No, just talk to someone. Share it with someone. Put some trust in yourself that when you talk to them, you're doing the right thing. We don't always need to come away from that. Oh my God, I can't let them know that I'm struggling in life, or I'm down, or I'm a bit miserable and depressed because I'm on my own at Christmas, or whatever's going on in your life. I can't possibly let people know that. Why not? There's no blueprint to anything. Don't share it with the wrong people. Share it with the right people. Share it with a professional. But anyway, I've digressed. So yeah, the one I wanted to say, so we can see how some of what we feel is just normal stuff, is if we take the animal a cheetah, I don't know why a cheetah jumped into my head, but it did. If we take the animal a cheetah and we can imagine it walking along the Serengeti plains, and let's imagine that this cheetah is walking alongside a very big wall, and so it only has to look one way out across the Serengeti plains. Right, bear with me here, guys. I'm sure this is going to come good. I know it will. So it's looking out across the Serengeti plains. As it walks along that wall, it feels quite comfortable with itself because it can see everything so clearly. It knows how fast it is. It knows what its body can do. So it knows that should it be attacked by lions, it's going to see them those lions so far away. It's got nothing to worry about. So therefore, it just cruises along this wall, chilled out, enjoying the sunshine. Then it gets thirsty. Now, in order for it to get to the drinking den, it has to walk right out, miles into the middle of the Serengeti plains to go and get that. Now it's a lot more exposed and a lot more vulnerable because the grass is high and it's under a lot more attack from lions and could be killed. Therefore, the cheetah's not thinking and strategizing as such. It's not thinking on purpose. It will just be going along with how its body is feeling. Its body will wake up to that environment that it's now in. Danger is striking. There's a fear of death. There's predators about, so its body will just react to that environment. It won't necessarily be thinking about that. Now, can you imagine if a cheetah had an egoic mind? That it said, oh, here we are again in the middle of the Serengeti plain. I always have to go and get the water. Least when I didn't want to get the water, I couldn't be bothered. It's really hot today, and here I am. Now I have to put up with all these feelings of feeling like shit. I'm hot and bothered, and now I've got to get the water. That's what an egoic mind would do to a cheetah. Therefore, it would probably end up dead because it would be distracted by the egoic mind, and the lion would know that and jump on it. This analogy is so But I'm sure it makes sense. I'm sure it makes sense to some of you, and hopefully it was a little bit humorous as well. But anyway, guys, look, I'm going to love you and leave you and end it there. I just wanted to say Happy Christmas, and I hope everything is good with you guys. And if you're feeling lonely, sometimes just the feeling of loneliness is okay. It doesn't feel nice. I'm not trying to say, oh, we should just get on with it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it's okay, that these are normal human feelings to have, and that the egoic mind coming in and telling you you're wrong for standing and you should make more of an effort to do something. No, sometimes just being bored is what, and being bored and down is just what we need to do, and sit and eat dinner and watch a bit of telly. And that's all there is to it. That's really all there is to it sometimes. Anyway, I hope that made sense to you. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it brings some of you a little bit of relief. This is just my takes, how I see things like that. So anyway, guys, I love every single one of you. Hello to all the new subscribers that have come along. 16 new subscribers today, and I don't know what video from, so that's awesome. Thank you so much for helping me grow this channel. It's so great to be this side of the camera. I was kind of feeling it all coming together. Sometimes I have to pinch myself and think, am I really a YouTuber? Am I actually doing this? As the mind comes in, and then me underneath kind of sits there like, oh yeah, I really am doing this. And it seems to be helping people. So anyway, I love you all, guys. Thank you so much for always showing me the love and support. And thank you for bringing the best of me out of me to always put it back into these videos. Right, I'm going. Love you. Take care and peace.